The Premier League 2023-24 season is already halfway done, and with that being said, I thought this would be the perfect time to make my Premier League team of the season so far. Obviously, since we are only halfway through the season, a lot of things can change from now till the end of the season. But since we have already seen these players play their first 18 games, I thought this would be a perfect time to create my team of the season so far. So without further ado, let's get right into this video. Starting off in the goalkeeper position, I think there have been some phenomenal goalkeepers so far this season. Players like Alisson, Ederson, and even Emiliano Martinez have been playing incredibly. But personally, I think the best goalkeeper has been Vicario. Obviously, since I do watch a lot of the Serie A, I've seen Vicario play for the last 2 years with Empoli. And I knew he was a good goalkeeper, but I never thought that he was going to be as good as he's been this season with Tottenham. So far in his first 17 games, he has already kept 5 clean sheets, and some of the saves that he's been pulling off have been incredible saves that I think most other goalkeepers would concede those goals. I think that he's been one of the main reasons why Tottenham have been so good this season. And yes, people may say that Tottenham have fallen off in recent weeks, and obviously that is true with some of their recent injuries, but I still think Vicario has been a key player in that lineup. And I think without Vicario, if Tottenham still had Hugo Lloris, I think they would be so poor this season. Maybe not as poor as they were last season, but I don't think they would be anywhere near the top 8 if they still had Lloris in net, because some of the saves Vicario has been pulling off have been incredible, and I think he definitely deserves to go in this midway team of the season. Moving on to the right back position, and yes, there are obviously a few players that have been playing great this season. Mainly Trent Alexander-Arnold has really stepped up his game from last season, but I've gone with Kieran Trippier. I think Kieran Trippier has definitely been the best right back so far this season, and I've been seeing a lot of people pick Trent over Trippier because Trippier in recent weeks has been playing pretty bad. And yes, I do agree with that. In recent weeks, in recent games, he's been playing very poorly, and he's been making a lot of mistakes, and Newcastle have been conceding a lot of goals because of that. But if you take into account all the other games before the last 3 or 4 games he's played, he was absolutely phenomenal, providing assists in almost every single game and making key passes in the attacking third, and also key defensive blocks and defensive tackles in the defensive end. So for those reasons, I do think that Kieran Trippier has been the best right back in the Premier League this season, and I do think he deserves to be in this team. Moving on to the first center back position, and I think this is probably the most obvious choice in this list, and it is Virgil van Dijk. Van Dijk has been absolutely incredible this season, and I remember last season when Liverpool weren't playing particularly well, a lot of people were saying that this may be the downfall of Virgil van Dijk. But this season, he's proving everyone wrong that he is still one of the best, if not the best center back in the world. Everything he's been doing this season, from his tackles to his defensive plays to his IQ, everything on the defensive end has been brilliant. And he's been playing so well with his fullbacks, with the other center back, with the goalie. His communication is brilliant. And yes, last season, he may not have had the greatest season, but this season, he looks back to his best. So far this season, he already has 1 goal and 2 assists. And I think he's one of the main reasons why Liverpool are having so much success in both the Premier League and also in the Europa League. Moving on to the other center back position, I've chosen to put William Saliba. A lot of people may be wondering why I didn't put Ruben Diaz in this list. And personally, I just don't feel like he's been that good this season compared to some of the other center backs that there is in the Premier League. I think he's been causing a lot of errors in that Manchester City lineup, which has led them to concede multiple goals, especially in recent weeks. So for that reason, I've decided to put William Saliba over Ruben Diaz. I think Saliba has been absolutely phenomenal this season, and I could have even put Gabriel Magalhaes in this list because both of these center backs as a pairing for Arsenal have been so good, and they're one of the main reasons why Arsenal defensively have been so good this season. Arsenal this season in the Premier League have been one of the teams that have conceded the least amount of goals, and even if you look in the Champions League, they are barely conceding any goals, and one of the main reasons for that is because of William Saliba. Moving on to the left back position, and I think this is a very tough one because I feel like the left back position in the Premier League is probably one of the weakest positions with the weakest players out of any other position. But I think one of the best left backs is definitely Udogie. Udogie has been absolutely incredible this year. And again, similar to Vicario, like I said, I do watch the Serie A. And when he was playing for Udinese for those couple years, I knew that he was going to be an incredible center back and hopefully one day will play in the Italian national team. And this season with Tottenham, now the world is finally starting to see how incredible of a left back he is. I think that his abilities, both pushing up the field, helping out with the attack, creating attacking opportunities, passes into the final third, and even his defensive abilities, his slide tackles, his standing tackles, and his physicality are both incredible. And I do think he's one of the best young left backs in the world. Moving on to the midfield three, and the first midfielder that I've chosen is Declan Rice. I think Declan Rice is a no-brainer in this midway team of the season because I think he's been one of the best midfielders in the whole world. If you look at what he's been doing with Arsenal so far this season, playing in both the center mid position and even more of a defensive mid position, he's been absolutely incredible, pushing up the pitch, staying back, helping with the defensive side of things. He's been so good, and he's been the best player on Arsenal's lineup. I think that without Declan Rice, Arsenal this season would not be near as good as they currently are. I think he was one of the best transfers in the summer, and I do think he is the best midfielder in the Premier League at the moment. He's already gotten 4 goal contributions for Arsenal this season, and these contributions that he's getting are key contributions. We've seen him score in the last minute of the game multiple times, and like I already said, I think he is the best player on Arsenal and one of the best midfielders in the world. Moving on to the next midfield position, I've put James Maddison. Obviously, James Maddison is a more attacking-minded midfielder than the likes of Declan Rice, and I do think that in terms of his attacking capabilities, I think he's been the best midfielder in the Premier League this season. If you look at what he's been doing with Tottenham this season, he's already gotten 8 goal contributions, and without him, the game after he got injured, Tottenham completely crumbled. They looked nothing like they did with him, and for that reason, I think he is a key player in that Tottenham lineup. And again, for the price that they got him at, which was only, I think, around 40 or 45 million, that is absolutely incredible. And with what he's provided to that team, I do think he has been the best midfielder in the Premier League. He 100% deserves to go on this list. If you don't have James Maddison in your midway team of the season, I don't know what you're doing. You're crazy. Moving on to the third midfield spot, and I think this may be a little bit controversial, I've put Douglas Luiz. Obviously, a lot of people will probably say that Rodri deserves a spot in this team. And personally, I think Rodri, with his time at Manchester City, I think he's been the best defensive-minded midfielder in the Premier League and maybe in the world. And I do think he's a very underrated player. But this season, having missed multiple games with Manchester City, and even the fact that Manchester City with Rodri haven't been playing as good, I decided that some of these other midfielders deserve this spot over Rodri. Obviously, at the end of the season, this can all change. And to be honest, Rodri probably will end up being in that team that I make at the end of the season. But as for now, I do think Douglas Luiz has been playing better than Rodri. We've seen how good Aston Villa are this season under Unai Emery, and they are at the very top of the Premier League table, which no one really expected. And I think one of the main reasons has been Douglas Luiz. His contributions so far to this team, both in the attack and on the defense, have been absolutely incredible. Already has 5 goals and another 2 assists in his first 17 games. And I don't think there's anything wrong with this player. I think Douglas Luiz is a complete midfielder. Like I already said, on the attack, on the defense, he can do pretty much everything. Obviously, he's had help from a lot of his teammates. We've seen John McGinn play incredibly this season, and even some of Aston Villa's other midfielders. But I do think he has been the main focal point in that team, and for that reason, I think he had to be on this list. Moving on to the attacking 3 and starting off in the right wing position, I think there is no other choice than Mohamed Salah. Obviously, Bukayo Saka is an incredible winger, and there are many other great right wingers in the Premier League. But Mohamed Salah, I think since he's been with Liverpool since 2017, I think he has been the best Premier League player for all of those years. I think he might even go into the all-time Premier League 11. That's how good Mohamed Salah is. Again, similar to Van Dijk, last season he may have not been at his best, and some people may have thought that he's starting to get a little bit old. But this season, in his first 17 games, he's already gotten 18 goal contributions, and he is definitely the best winger in the Premier League by far. Moving on to the left wing position, and this may be a little bit controversial, I've put Heung-min Son. Obviously, this season we've seen Son play in multiple different positions. We've seen him play as a winger, as a left mid, or even as a striker. But I'm still going to put him in the left wing position because I think that is his natural position. And this season with Tottenham, he's been playing incredibly. In his first 17 games, he's already gotten 10 goals and 4 assists. He's getting almost 1 goal contribution in every single game he plays. And again, with how good Tottenham have been this season and how beautiful their football is, I think he is back to his best. Last season, Heung-min Son did have a little bit of an off season, scoring only 14 goals in the whole entire season. And to be honest, he started picking it up towards the end of the season because in the first half, it was not looking good. But this season, he is definitely back to his best, playing incredibly, scoring multiple goals in almost every single game. And he is definitely one of the key players in Tottenham's attack. It's very surprising to me that I have 4 Tottenham players in this team, because if you look at Tottenham last season, I don't think any of their players would have gotten into a team of the season. But this season under Ange Postecoglou, I think Tottenham have been playing very, very well. And all the players that I mentioned, I think deserve to be in this team. And finally, moving into the striker position. And if you didn't already guess it, it is Erling Haaland. Obviously, there have been multiple other good strikers this season. And I think one of the main candidates has been Ollie Watkins. He's already scored many, many goals and also assisted many goals so far this season. And even though Erling Haaland may not look as good as he did last season, I still do think that he is definitely the best striker in the Premier League. So far this season in the Premier League, he's played 15 games, he's scored 14 goals, and he's assisted 4 goals. So he's still averaging over 1 goal contribution in every single game he plays. And like I already said, he hasn't been at his best this season. I do think he's missed a lot of opportunities where last season he would have definitely scored. But you cannot deny that he is the best striker in the Premier League and probably the best striker in the world. Haaland's ability to get into high quality goal scoring positions with his incredible IQ, his pace, his strength is honestly unmatched from most other strikers in the world. And for that reason, I do think he has to be in this team. And that is the end of my video. That is my Premier League team of the season so far, as we are halfway through the Premier League season. In net, we have Vicario. At the right back, we have Kieran Trippier. In the defense, we have Virgil van Dijk and William Saliba. On the left back, we have Udogie. In the center mid position, we have Declan Rice, James Maddison, and Douglas Llouis. On the right wing, we have Mohamed Salah. Left wing, Heung-min Son. And finally, in the striker position, we have Erling Haaland. If you guys want to see another team of the season video where I'll make the team of the season across all the top 5 leagues, let me know in the comments down below. And obviously, since this upload is going out right before Christmas, I do wish you all a Merry Christmas. And if you're not celebrating Christmas, I hope you have a very happy holidays. And if you did enjoy this video, remember to leave a like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, and stay tuned for more videos.